Well, excuse folks. I'd like to say we had technical difficulties, but actually Scott was sleeping.
Yeah, just
Couldn't wake
woke
him
up.
up. Yep, couldn't wake him up, so,
Didn't start rolling until I took my nap.
yeah. What's our sound like here, Troy?
I think we're doing okay.
Think we're doing good?
Yeah, I'm gonna get around to it, to monitoring it, but y'all just keep on going.
Alrighty, so, we'll cover a little bit of everything tonight, Scott?
Sure.
We're gonna, well, I got notes here, boys, we're taking this one serious.
Watch out.
Huh?
You better watch out.
Yeah.
If you start taking notes, you know it's gonna be good, right?
Yeah, that's right, that's right. Be orderly for the first time, so.
Oh, man.
We're gonna go over a couple of things that over the years I've learned, been taught by really good trainers, good people. So a couple of things I figured out myself. Go through other things that Scott's got an opinion on, and see if we can come up with some serious information to help your training, no matter what you're doing. And I'm talking about the basis for my lifestyle training book is how dogs think, part of it, and then how to use certain techniques to improve other things. Little known simple facts that can make all the difference in the world. So, Troy, are we running two cameras or one right now? We got two. Am I looking at the right one? We both looking at the right ones? Both are, okay. Wait. We're redoing our technical stuff, folks. We're learning as we go. Rule number one. Biggest complaint in the world, as I see it, is dog won't come when I call.
Yeah.
Number one, probably.
Number one.
So, and the thing about it is, it's really simple. When I was growing up with the coonhounds, Mr. Johnson always say, don't waste your breath yelling at the dog who's sniffing. If he's looking at you when you say something, he's going to do it every time. Simple as that. So it's kind of like Scott's watching the Cowboys trying to win a football game in the playoffs, and Carol Ann walks in from behind him and hollers, hey, Scott, can you take out the garbage? And Scott goes, sure, he's waving her back off. Sure, dear, I'll be right with it. Turning up the little control with the volume. So the same things, if you think about it, is going to happen with your dog. Remember, we can't even, I don't care how much experience you got, I don't care how many thousands of miles you've tracked, we got no concept of what a dog can figure out through his nose. So you're out walking your dog, or he's in the backyard, and you want him to come in, and he's got his nose deep in a scent, and you want him to come in now. And he's just on day number 7 of the past week of everything that's gone past that spot. So when you holler, hey, come here, come, and you start changing you get angry and you change your tone. Remember, when you change your tone, you change the command. Dogs are literal. If you spent all your training saying, come Fido, you got to say, come Fido every time you talk to him. Because if you then go, come Fido, he may not understand it. So if you'll do something, if he's sniffing, really interested in something, make a sudden quick noise. Like clap your hands. Of course, everybody knows I love my air horn, But make some sudden noise, and the minute he looks at you, then
Say his name? Really?
what a concept.
I got it right. Look at that. Say his name, and he will go whoop. Well, then the question is, how do you get him to go whoop when you say his name?
Well, you can try teaching him his name with the name game,
Oh, name game.
right?
Yeah.
So the name games, think about it. I have asked this question to at least 100 people. How did you teach him? All they say is, well, he just learned it. How did he learn it? They're going to follow the command 9.5 times out of 10. So if you will not just teach him his name so he knows it for sure, but make it a response that he follows, a physical, make it a command. When I say Fido, I start all my pups by waving a treat out in front of their nose.
Get that lure going.
Huh?
Get that lure going.
Get the lure going, yeah. And once he's looking away, following the treat, I'll say Fido, and because their eyes are automatically attracted to quick motions, I'll jerk it to the tip of my nose. He'll turn his head and look at me. And then I'll lower it to my chin, look him in the eye, and when he looks back at me in the eye, I give him the treat. Then I'll do it to the other direction. Fido. Good boy. I'll do that with all my pups 3 or 4 times. And, you know, I think Scott can bear me out on this. If one of my dogs, if Bart's out here chasing a cat and I say, Bart, I guarantee you, even 10 years later, he's going to turn and look at me. And then when I give him my next command, he's going to follow it every cotton picking time. So teach your dog that his name has a meaning and a purpose. Simple as that. I know, you know, when I was a kid, when my dad said my name, damn, I knew that had a meaning. It made me nervous, but I knew it had a meaning. Dogs can't figure that out on their own. We have to help them. And if you help them, you're going to find your what I call communication channel between you and him is going to be way, way more efficient. Mm-hmm. So, what else do you think about, Scott?
We'll probably get into it later, but they said the dog won't come back to him. So I've always done where you say the dog's name, and the dog will turn and look, and that's when you start another training deal, right? So basically what I did, I just said his name, turned around and walked away. And guess what happened?
Came to you?
He followed, came right in. I had one dog that got out of the house. This couple was walking by their shepherd, and they were going about 1,000 yards. That's about 1,000 yards down to this park, and he saw them. I was bringing him in for a walk, so I got him in. I unleashed him, but before I could get him in, he was gone. And I run out to the corner of the street, and there he goes. There's Titan, just hauling butt right towards those people. And the main road is about 10 yards past that. So I was scared he's going to get in the road. So instead of panicking, I remember Bush told me. So I just said, Titan! And he turned and looked, and I just turned around and walked back towards the door. Before I got to the front door, he was sitting there waiting to go in the house.
Yeah.
So he, you know, it works. But I made sure I had contact where he had turned and looked at me. So.
And he did something else as well. Remember, and this is real important, dogs communicate with body language. We can do a lot of sounds. We can do A, E, I, O, U, X, Y, Z, kiss my fanny. We make a lot of sounds. Dogs can go, they bark, howl, and growl. That's their communication system vocally. But we can't prick our ears. We can't wag our tail. Well, I knew one little redhead that did a pretty good job. But, oh, well, never mind. Anyway, they do a lot more body language than we do. So that's their main form of communication. And what Scott did was real simple. You always hear these people say, you know, you got to be the pack leader, be the alpha, this, but they never tell you how. They just tell you you're supposed to. Well, one way you can be the leader, the pack leader, is just to act like one. Dogs are really trusting, and they believe us whenever we act right. And if I want to act like a leader, they're glad to accept it. So in the wild, let's take a pack of timber wolves. The biggest bonding thing with wolves, probably dingoes, coyotes, I know coyotes, is they go out on a foraging and they roam the countryside, sniffing, looking for something to eat or something to play with. Everyone can kind of do their own thing, but when it's time to go back to the den, the pack leader, like if it's timber wolves, they make a puffing sound with their cheeks, okay? When they make that sound, every wolf in the pack will turn and look at the pack leader. and he's going to do what a leader does. He's not going to say, "Come here, please. Here, poopsie whoopsie." He's just going to turn his head and start walking where he's going. And when the pack sees the leader leaving and they see his back, they will follow every cotton picking time. And Scott, how big was Titan?
He's about 100 pounds.
And if he,
Almost two and a half. Yeah, he's a big boy.
so he was 20, 30, 40 yards from you,
Oh, more than that.
more than that.
Yeah, at least 60 or 70.
And
I
after
had to yell his name. I just didn't say it
yeah,
very firmly. Yeah, but he was a ways down there.
and all you did after he looked at you was what?
Turned around and walked away.
Body language. When you're calling your dog, and another good factor is all land predators, tigers, wolves, eagles, their eyes are attracted by to motion. Any quick movement will get their attention. So when he had his name, when he heard his name, because he'd been playing that name game, he turned and looked. When he turned and looked, Scott didn't have to say another word.
I just quickly turned around, quick, and just started briskly walking towards the house.
Yep. Now, so that's what,
Yep.
and we generally call that a casual recall. There's two different deep recalls, but that's all.
That's something else.
Yeah, that's something
That's for
else.
another episode.
Another episode. So we'll go into about some protection talk.
Okay.
This is one of the. This is one of my. It's one of the least used tools that there is in the protection world, and it's absolutely my favorite. I can take this plain old burlap sack, roll it up like this, and you give me your dog, and in 45 days you come back and I'll have him sending, biting, outing, guarding, everything they need to do. And if I show him a human, he's going to nail him every time I give the command. This is, and this started, when I started as a whether going to be a dog trainer, trying to recreate Ren 1010 as a kid, we didn't have fancy sleeves, didn't have any idea where to get any. For me, we got an old Levi jacket that was 4 sizes too big, wrapped burlap sacks around our arm, put the jacket on, tried not to cry in front of everybody when the dog bit you. That was the equipment that I started training with. And then I started meeting real dog trainers, and they used a lot of burlap sacks back then. Some people have asked on a YouTube podcast how we get the dogs to hit high center mass if there's exercises. There's several. I've also been asked about equipment orientation. What happens when, how do you keep your dog from turning into a jute junkie, or a suit sucker, whatever term you want to use. This will do it all. The thing about this is you can work your dog. Let's take the equipment orientation. First off, it wiggles a lot, right? So you start your young pups with this, and I know they've got all sorts of tugs and gadgets, but you can get one of these at a feed store for $1.50. Wrap it with the tape, and if you want a pup to get into it, just throw it out there, waggle it on the ground like a snake, and he's going to start going to bite. When he goes to bite, you can give him a little tug. When you tug, he's going to go, you ain't taking away my toy, and he's going to bite down harder. So it's a great way to start your pups. But let's take an advanced dog. Let's take a dog, people brought me dogs that were started, whatever, did a little bit of bite work, but they were jute junkies. They were just, you show them a sleeve, you could throw the sleeve over there, and the guy could stand right here and scream at them, and they want to go get the sleeve. So here's your secret again. You take this burlap sack, you start to work that dog, you stick this back in your belt loop or in your pocket, and you work the dog in civil. Civil for novice, if you're new to this protection world, civil means without any equipment, obvious equipment or things that can cue the dog, right? So even including muzzles. So you have this tucked behind you, and you can go up there and threaten that dog and get him all fired up. And then when you think he's ready, you just go right to him like you're going to give a bite. You can step back 4 or 5 steps as he's lunging, and you tell the handler to turn him loose. And then you just pull the sack up. Now, you better watch your timing, folks. It could be a little hazardous if you're off, you know. I had some good friends that noses were shortened greatly. But you just whoop it out. You've done all your excitement, all your agitation, all your threatening, just as a man, just you and him, you and the dog. Once that dog commits to you, all you do is put this sack between your nose and his teeth. And then when he's on the ground, the thing I really like about the sack is if you're in a suit, and I know for the street, the bite's the start of the fight. After the bite, the dog has to get control of the man. That's the biggest difference between guard dog training and the sport training. Once the dog bites, takes 2 stick hits or whatever, the judges, and that's over. But on the street in real life, you got to control the dog. This is wonderful because you can do things like pick him up, you can turn it loose and get further back to give him a reward for the prey drive. You can trigger more prey drive if he's not biting his full by doing that, or you can pull him up real close and be more threatening to the dog and kick in his defense to make him bite harder. So this is just an absolute must if you're going to train a really good guard dog. And there's so many things you can do with it. You know, when we do our pro sports trial in April, we'll probably do a couple of days earlier. We'll do some training seminars, try and teach people things, and you know, we're going to do a lot of work with the burlap sack. That's going to be a goodie.
Mm-hmm. And particularly good advanced dogs and all, but even with pups, when you get them off a flirt pole, and you can get them off a flirt pole quicker, but they still don't have the confidence to come with the shadow or man close to them. So with this here, you can actually lunge out and flicking it, and when the dog gets a bite, you profile and you're on the defense. No eye contact, nothing, but you're working that dog, and that pup's building confidence.
Yeah.
And before you know it, he's up high. You can open you'll come and bite, and you can actually start working him. Or it's a good confidence building tool too.
Yeah.
Along with with the other dogs with the civil agitation stuff. So
yeah. So let's shall we go to the world of I know what I get a lot of people come out here with a dog that somebody has told them can't do protection work, doesn't have the drive or whatever. Okay. In all the years I've been doing this, I can't think of it, maybe 4, maybe I'm bragging, maybe 10 dogs that I have not been able to get to do good, solid bite work. And there's one little trick I learned early on, back when I was still selling, working for the dog food companies. There was a German Schutzen trainer named Gottfried Dildai, who is probably just one of the best I've ever been around, and I've been lucky enough to be around some good ones. And I think he may have written a book on Schutzen. I'm not real sure. Dildei is how he spells his last name. And one of the things he does at his club in Germany is every new person that comes, he had some, I guess, chain link boxes built, or cages, whatever you want to call them. And he had 4 or 5 of them along the field. And no matter who you were, how old your dog was, or whatever, the first month that you were in that club, all you did was come, put your dog in the box, and then go away and let him watch. Simple as that. Mm-hmm. And dogs are great associative learners, but they also learn from vision by watching. And I've done that with countless dogs that I was told wouldn't do bite work, didn't have enough. In America, it's always not enough prey drive. They ain't got no prey drive. Yeah, he's a mastiff. He ain't got no prey drive. You can take a young dog or even an older dog and put him in a position where he can watch the work going on. All dogs know how to hunt. All dogs know how to fight. So you show them other dogs in the fight being successful, and at some point, your dog who someone said had no prey drive will get in that crate or that box, whatever, and he'll watch another dog doing it, and you'll hear him screaming on the side of the field. Let me at him, let me at him. So for your protection trainers, for you guys that are, having trouble, if you have trouble with a dog that doesn't quite pick it up, you might try that. It's not 100%, I'm not going to say that, but it's sure 80% effective, 8 times out of 10.
Yeah, because mirroring works wonders. It's called mirroring. So basically, there's a concept dogs associate with each other, but they will mirror another dog. So that's why you get a dog at the house, and you got a small dog, and you got a bigger dog, and you can say, well, my dog acts. You think your dog will take the tendencies of the other dog, basically learning growing up, right? So I had a couple dogs, and I had one dog that was great and was very socialized in public, to the store. My other dog, my young pup, he was very all over the place, right? So I figured out that I put him on a twin leash, a twin splitter, and put them together. And I walked him through the store around people, and the first time we went out, it was kind of, give and go, but by the end of the 30, 40 minutes of walking, it was kind of a semblance where the dog, this puppy was very calm. Basically, he was actually feeling safe next to his big brother, let's just say. Okay?
Feed off like the other one?
Yeah, he was feeding it. So after a few times, they start walking together, and the confidence starts coming up, okay? So, and after a while, split him up, and he was fine. But just to be tied, was it McCoy and Aries, wasn't it? McCoy and Spartica. The Spartica was kind of skitsy. And after a few times, they got the hang of walking together. Then after a few more times, they were walking together, calm as a cucumber. It took about 4 weeks, 5 weeks. It took a little time, but they were mirroring each other. Then finally, we went in with both dogs on separate leashes, and we walked together again. And that was good. Then the next time we went, we took both dogs in, and I went left, and she went right, and no one had a problem. So, it's...
Is that unspoken body language they're speaking to each other too?
Probably.
Probably so.
Yeah.
We won't know about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point, Troy.
Well, what I've done was, because Butch said you get a dog that's very confident,
Mhm.
that knows it, he's got no fear, he's just ready to go, tether her with him.
Yep.
So that's what I did. And I had to do it every day, 7 days a week. I went to the store probably 5, 6 weeks, like Scott said. And man, her confidence just went boom, 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 boom. And then I did the mirroring effect, like Butch told me to.
Well, I've heard you say it before, the dogs sometimes can be the best teachers.
But you get,
Yeah, that's good. That's good, Troy.
took a tail tucker and had that dog with tail straight up, be
Yep.
confident.
Yep. I'm gonna get entirely off the subject because this is one of my favorite stories, dog stories ever. And it was 2 rookies who started coming out here and said they were interested in dog training and just kept hanging in there, right? And they were doing basic obedience and bite work, but starting a little bit of tracking. And after just a little bit, this guy and that lady there come in, and they were talking about Titan, their Doberman. Tell them what you did at the grocery store, Scott.
You tracking?
Uh-huh.
We went out and said...
Wait.
Oh, go ahead.
Before we, and if you deal with all the tracking people, they will tell you that what they call hard surface tracking is the most difficult, and you've got to, there's special techniques and everything to do hard surface tracking.
Like dirt versus floor type?
Yeah, like a
Concrete or-
street or a floor, concrete, right. The concrete, the hard surface is really, really the hardest thing to get a dog to do, but Scott didn't know that. So take it
Yeah.
from there, Scott.
So we had him training. He was what? I mean, he was tracking pretty good, and he was still, a novice tracker. But I said, let's try something. So we went ahead and said we'll take him to the grocery store on a Sunday after church, where all the churchers are in there and they're shopping, right? Went in there, and this is a HEB, so this place is packed. And in this store, you have the groceries, you have the bakery, you have the meat market, you have the ladies cooking all the food everywhere because they're making samples everywhere, and this place is packed. So I set a track in that store. So I took my hat, I put it in, I threw it behind my truck. And I had my phone, so I'll call you when I'm ready. So it was about 15, 20 minutes between. So I went in, I tracked through the bakery, through the meat market, around those ladies cooking, went down the aisle, and in the store to the ice cream section. And anyway, I ended up in the, where they put the toilet paper in a paper towel, and I hid in the shelf. The lady goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh, there's a dog looking for me." She goes, "Well, I got to see this." I said, "Okay." So I got back there. So I sat there for 10 minutes or so after my track was laid, and I said, "All right, release the hounds." So Carol Ann had that big sucker, and she took him out, and she had him smell the lure, and here he comes. And he went exactly where I was at in the store. It took him 3.5 minutes in the supermarket. It's like bigger than a Walmart Supercenter.
Yeah.
And I crossed over everywhere. It took him 3.5 minutes, and he found me. Then I gave him his tug for the win. But yeah,
That's unbelievable.
I didn't know. I said, "Butch, guess what happened?" And he was like, "What?" I said, "Yeah." So, and that was just, you learn good.
Yeah,
I mean, just the whole process of getting, that's a whole different subject. We got to talk to, have a podcast on tracking one day
yeah,
to go through how to start.
on tracking. Yeah,
But yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah.
He was amazing.
yeah.
It's amazing.
I didn't think he'd find me. So there's no way that dog's ever going to find me.
That's a serious challenge of a bakery, a deli. you
Oh
know,
yeah.
Oh,
On
you
all
got
those
the
people
meats,
cooking,
the lunch
you know,
meats.
people
the fish.
everywhere.
Cooking and
people walking the store
that
everywhere.
was like the championship you ran it right into. You didn't start.
Yeah.
You
No.
didn't start him early. You
You know
Yeah.
what?
We were running, and I had a service vest on him, and I had all kinds of stuff, and we're jogging in, and people are like, I was like, search and rescue, and they're like, oh, okay, man, he had me trucking.
Yeah.
We're here to rescue a bagel.
Yeah. And I could hear him coming. I could hear him.
Yeah, here.
And he did it right away. 3.5 minutes.
What I if I could, what I would like to do is repeat it someday. I would have given anything to had a camera when this 95-pound Doberman with this 97-pound woman holding him walk into that store. Can you imagine the looks on these people's faces? This dog is just zooming past them. I mean,
I wish I had a GoPro for her.
oh, I know, yeah, yeah, on both of them, yeah.
We'll have to do it again sometime.
Yep.
So,
Anyway, I see, folks. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did, because that's an amazing story.
it was funny. It was a good
Touch one
time.
thing before we go, because this is important. Not quite as much fun, but it's important. I cannot stress enough the importance of body language. Dogs don't learn our words when we're saying them. They learn the positions we're in, the posture we're in, and then they hear a sound. They actually pick up our posture before they start to really comprehending the sound. So if you want to train your dog more efficiently and much faster, always put a hand signal with everything you're doing. Always. As soon as they pick up that hand signal, which they will pretty quickly, that sound will start being associated with that body signal, and your dog's going to pick it up 10 times faster.
Quicker than they think.
Yeah. And here's not just my observation. I cannot remember. It was a university in Italy. They ran an experiment. It was Milan or I forget. Anyway, one of the universities in Italy. Apparently, this part of Italy has a lot of water sports. I guess it's on the coast. And there's a very active club of Newfoundland water rescue dogs. The Newfoundlands are famed for, the Newfoundlands are famed for back centuries and centuries ago, and in Newfoundland they would drag the fish nets out for the Indians that they were helping, and they've been used for water rescue for all those years. And so there's a lot of the clubs in Europe use Newfoundlands on coastal areas as rescue dogs. These Newfoundland rescue dogs are, because they're swimming far out in the ocean, they are trained on hand signals, not exclusively, but every command that they can give a dog, they have a hand signal for. And that's what they do. They'll blow a whistle, and when the dog looks at them when he's swimming 200 yards off shore, they can still communicate by a hand signal. So at this one university, they were trying to decide which is more effective, voice commands or hand signals. Obviously at a great distance, we know the hand signals are. But just for every day, what does the dog really watch? So they got one of the water rescue clubs to come in. I think there was a little over a dozen dogs in this particular experiment. If anyone's real curious, I'll be glad to give them the source and everything where I got all this. They want to read about it. But they took these dogs in and they started running various experiments. I won't bore you with all of them, but the biggie was they took all the dogs and they had the handlers give a voice command. At the same time, they gave an opposing or different hand signal. So it would be like if this is down, they would have the handler signal down, and at the same time he said down, he'd say heel or come. Now you'd think that the easiest, the path of least resistance would be for the dog to just go, okay, I'll just lay down. They put the number 16 keeps popping into my head, so I'm thinking maybe there were 16 dogs in this club. They put all of these dogs through bunches of experiences, and they had every command you could imagine, both by voice and by hand signal. The results across the board were 70% of the time the dogs followed the hand signal.
They learn it.
And I never repeat a command. I say it once with my dogs that have been trained for over 2.5 years. They look at me, I look at them, I say the word. Now they know the word, they do the command, but before this would work every time. I never had to repeat. I just say, Aries, boom, he just sits.
In the hand commands, even if it's not your own dog.
Yep.
Out here when we do protection work, we'll have the dogs come out and I'll set up and I'll always give the hand signal to the dog. Alert your dog. And it comes to a point, certain dogs, arm goes up, the dog lights up. So I've had some where I've had to just nod and they pick up on that and just have to choreograph with the handler something and say, I'm going to turn to the left because you've never seen it before. Then alert your dog, because any kind of hand motion, even nod of the head, they know. They will, after a few repetitions, they will know and they will pick it up. So that's the dog, not even my dog, but the dog that's excited.
Yep. And they want to do it.
And they want to do it. So
they're paying attention.
But yeah.
So body language is the key to, and think about it this way. I always tell everybody, like Carol Ann said, never repeat the command, repeat the consequence. And she says she never has to repeat commands. She's taught herself not to repeat them, because we'll go here, or down. Come on, say down.
And he finally sits down.
Yeah, and he finally sits down. He gets tired of standing.
And again, you do it again.
Yeah, but if you had a hand signal, you wouldn't go. Would you? I mean,
No, because
you don't need to.
Doing the repeating like that, the dog knows. After 3 or 4 times he says, I'll probably sit down.
Yeah, yeah. So
anyway,
we're running a little late tonight.
Yep.
I hope whoever watches this has as much fun, especially with the grocery store story, as I've had. I enjoyed this one.
We got a question.
Well, we got questions, Carol Ann?
We got Top Dog Canine Training has a comment. Can I go ahead and read it to you?
Sure.
Okay. He put down that body signals are always stronger, used by film and tactical trainers for over years, along with herding dogs,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know what body over shadow voice. I don't know that.
Know that.
Yeah, that's just always saying body language is stronger.
Yep, body language.
Like I said at first when I was telling y'all about Titan running off,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't turn like this. I turned sharp where he saw me. It was a quick move and a quick exit, and he reacted to that.
Yep.
It's his name. I didn't tell him to come or anything, but body
Don't need
language.
to.
It's all body language,
Yeah.
you know. But that being said, whether you're in Dallas, Texas, Sydney, Australia, or Sinclair, Maine, what's going on? Build a relationship with your dog. Become its friend, not just its owner. Because, we all know it's all about the dogs, right? Let's keep it that way. Everybody have a good night, and we'll see you next Thursday.
See you next week, folks. Thanks.
Happy Leap Day.